I thought it might be a good idea for a video to test alternative fuels for Zippo lighters or other petrol or liquid fuel lighters. Now, obviously, Zippo fuel or other lighter fluids are basically watered down petrol, and it's to get a good balance between being flammable but not too flammable or explosive, and also having a bit of evaporation to make the lighter work, but not so much evaporation the lighter runs out too quickly. So, for the purpose of this video, I'm actually going to use a Starlighter, not a Zippo, but it's the same thing. And sort of what I was wondering is, what would be the best balance you could get of something that would keep fuel as long as possible, or at least have a very cheap fuel source, but not evaporate, you know, too quickly and everything else. So there's quite a lot of fuels you can supposedly use. I don't have a lot of them on me at the moment. There's all sorts of paraffins, kerosene, diesels, you know, things like that. Actual petrol I've heard can and can't work, but I heard it's quite dangerous. If the lighter gets too warm, it can essentially explode the petrol in the lighter. So rather than putting Zippo fluid in this empty Starlighter, and just to show it is empty, there you go, see it's not lighting. You can see that's quite dry at the bottom there. I'm going to put some methylated spirit in, so methanol. Now basically, if you don't know, you get ethanol and methanol. They're both technically alcohols. Ethanols are the ones humans can drink. Methanols are the ones that are poisonous to humans, but they're basically the same in terms of properties of combustion and everything like that. So in theory I could put vodka or something like that in this lighter, but obviously it's much cheaper to use a non-drinkable alcohol. So this methylated spirit is apparently 99p, and you get 250 milliliter in a bottle. Now this was 125 millilitres, and these are normally £3 or £4 in a lot of places. I think in the pound shops they do slightly smaller cans of another brand. I think it's normally like Bull Brand or something. But anyway, the point in this video is, let's see if we can get the lighter to work with methylated spirit. So I'm going to get the lighter like this and pop this in just to get it to stand up. Then I'm going to try and pour this very carefully in. Methanol's got a strong smell to it. So I can see that pink liquid all in there now. So what I'm going to do now, that's in there, is flip it up the other way. I'm just going to cut the camera a minute. I'm going to leave it a few minutes to soak through, and then we're going to see if the lighter works. Right, that's been a few minutes to soak in, so I'm going to try this. If we have any luck, we can recommend it. If not, we're going to try another fuel on another Zippo. So, here goes nothing. Doesn't seem to be lighting very well. No, the kerosene, sorry not the kerosene, the methylated spirit doesn't actually seem to be lighting at all. I could try putting some more in, but I'm not sure if that's actually going to help. I can smell it in there, so it's in there. I've heard, funnily enough, perfumes and aftershaves can work, so I'm just going to get some like Old Spice or something and pour that in and see if it lights up. Yep, so there's some Old Spice. Let's see if we can get the Zippo to run on Old Spice, or the Starlighter more appropriately. Right, again, I'll leave that a few minutes to soak in. I now smell of perfume, aftershave. Just rub that into me actually while I've got it on my fingers. And then let's see if that will actually light a Zippo. Okay, it's been a few minutes again. Let's see if I can get the Old Spice to light. Oh, yeah, there we go. Makes an interesting sound. But yeah, that's burning. Now I don't know if that's mostly Old Spice burning or the methylated spirit, but we are getting fire from it. Yeah, that's interesting. It's quite hard to see flame if I flick the light off. There's definitely heat coming off of it. You can probably see that a bit better there. Apparently paint thinners work well as well, but it's toxic if you inhale it. Yeah, that's definitely burning. Right, yeah. So that blows out, but does the lighter feel hot to the touch? Oh, very hot, just burnt my hand. I'm going to need some gloves on before I attempt to light that one again. But yep, Old Spice and methylated spirit together definitely light a lighter. So what I have here is another Zippo lighter, not the Star lighter this time, but an actual Zippo. Whoops. And as you can see, no fuel currently in it. So what I'm going to do now is to try it with rubbing alcohol, because rubbing alcohol is really cheap to buy. I've got a bottle here, I fill that bottle up from like a jerry can of the stuff, and it's very good practical stuff. So what I'm going to do is basically just keep spraying this into here till it's soaked all the way through. Now I imagine, although this is flammable, it's going to evaporate too quickly to be any of real use, because rubbing alcohol tends to burn up quite quickly, but maybe like the methanol, it didn't really work very well. I might get some results of this. Right, the Zippo's now dripping through, so that should be damp enough to actually do the test with. Right, I'll give that a moment to dry and then I'll test it. Right, I have the Zippo sitting on a bamboo chopping board in case it suddenly explodes or something like that, but let's see if the methylated spirit, the rubbing alcohol, lights. Doesn't seem to. What I'm just going to try doing, see if I can get the fire started, is pop a little bit of that onto where the wick is and then spark it. It seems odd to me that that's not starting a flame, because methylated spirit's normally very flammable. Just try a bit more on there. And it probably doesn't help that the wick on this Zippo is quite old and burnt out, but no, unfortunately it seems, despite the fact rubbing alcohol is normally very flammable, even with it soaked in beneath and above on the Zippo, it's not going to light it, which really surprised me. So what I've concluded from this is that Old Spice is weirdly flammable, but not in a particularly safe way. Let's see if this lighter's cool enough to touch again. Put this one to the side. No, it's not really lighting very well. So, what I think we've discovered is, as expensive as this stuff is, it's kind of the best stuff you can get. As I said, I've not tested kerosene or diesel with it. But what I'm just going to quickly do before we end the video is I'm going to get the IMCO, and I'm going to top that up with the rubbing alcohol, because I'd be very surprised if that didn't actually do anything, simply due to the fact that, you know, it should light, and I know IMCOs light easier than Zippos do sometimes, so let's just try that. Okay, there's my IMCO Junior. Take that bit out. There's that. There's still a little bit of petrol left in this, so it's not going to be totally fair, because it's going to be a bit more flammable than the Zippos anyway, because it's got a bit of lighter fluid in, but I want to see if we top this up with rubbing alcohol, if that's going to have an effect. Right, again, I'll give that a little bit to dry off and I'll resume the video. Right, I've got some serious business gloves on to do this with in case something goes horribly wrong. Yep, there we go. We've got a bit of a flame from the IMCO now, not a very strong looking one. But alcohol flames are harder to see than lighter fluid flames. I can actually smell the sort of rubbing alcohol on that, so that's definitely doing something. Yeah, it's producing a fair bit of warmth. So yeah, rubbing alcohol does work. Apparently the wick needs to be in really good condition. But I think to sum this video up, actual lighter fluid works pretty well. If you want it to be really cheap, maybe make an effective fuel, maybe you could actually get like a bottle and mix stuff in, like have a bit of actual lighter fluid, a bit of, you know, like old like cologne type stuff, and maybe some rubbing alcohol. How well that would work, I don't know. Maybe I'll try it in a future video. I'll get a bottle and make my own brand of lighter fluid and see if it works. But if we've learned anything from this video, I think it's that the actual proper lighter fluid fuels are generally quite good compared to trying to make your own with other materials. That's not to say diesel and kerosene and lamp oil wouldn't work, but they probably work quite well. But for the sake of it, methylated spirit that works fine in lamps doesn't seem to work. Old Spice works, but it's a bit volatile, if we put it that way, and the rubbing alcohol seems to be a bit weak, but it's working on the IMCO. So there you have it. The actual Zippo lighter fluid's probably still the best option.